Hello everyone, thank you for joining me here on this another episode of Vegan Police TV. I'm just getting a bit parched, so this episode is a bit of a personal one for me. So it's just to explain my vegan journey and how I ended up where I am now. So if you're not interested in that, don't worry about it, and all that sort of stuff. So let's get on with it. Now, as I've said in previous episodes, I've been vegan now for, I think it's about 23 years. Honestly, I lost count after 10. All I know, 24 years, because I'm 19. Started when I was 19 or 20, so it's about 24 years. So yes, my reasons for going vegan. Initially, it was for health reasons. Now, at that point in time, a good friend of mine was going to see a chiropractor, for regular checkups and all that. So I thought, hey, I'll give it a go. Being an apprentice and being rather daft in the way that we do things when we're 19. We think we're 6 foot tall and bulletproof. Used to have a few back challenges and things like that. Now this friend sort of recommended, said, hey, yeah, they go to a chiropractor all the time, works wonders for them. So I thought, hey, yeah, I'll check it out. So went along to this chiropractor, and one of the things that they do is they like to give information sessions for new patients to teach you about, looking after yourself and, the process of chiropractic care and all that sort of stuff. Now, one of the things that they did during this information session was mention a book called Fit for Life. Now, the whole premise from what they said is that your body is, regardless of how you look at it, it is a fairly complex piece of machinery. It has to be the most expensive piece of machinery that there is on this planet. Now, as for that, and they use the analogy that, hey, you've got a Ferrari, would you put, leaded petrol was out at that time, and was there unleaded petrol? Anyway, would you put crappy fuel in it? No, you wouldn't. You'd want to put the best fuel in that you can into that. And one of the things that they said was that, hey, you've got to choose the fuel that you put into your body, and that's why they recommended this book. Anyway, so being the inquisitive person that I was, I went and bought that book. The book is Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. I do recommend, even though it is a diet-related book, for me, it was the inspiration for me to look further into veganism. Now, at that point in time, I was a hunter as well, so I'd had a number of run-ins with people from the vegan fraternity, whether it's in young duck shooting and in the wetlands and all that sort of stuff. And honestly, I thought they were a bunch of the fringe dwellers. So I hadn't had any positive exposure towards veganism. There was a guy, because I was a screen printer at that time, there was a guy who was vegan as well, and he fitted the stereotypical image of what a vegan was, and all that sort of stuff. So, once I heard about it, contacted him, and this was pre-internet days, so everything that I found out about it was buying Leah Lehman's books, Vegan Cooking for One, and a couple of other books like that. So, as I said, for me it was health, so that was the inspiration for doing it. I did a bit more research. Was also riding motorbikes at the time and was due to get some leathers. Went to a leather shop up at a motorcycle manufacturer's, Katoomba. Was it Katoomba or was it somewhere? Anyway, was talking to them about saying, hey, listen, I'm going vegan. Actually, the motorcycle thing was after Melbourne, so the motorcycle thing was in Sydney. So, and that was a bit of a discussion as well. So that was before I went down the whole, rights-based path and things like that. So, going through that, read that, thought, oh, okay, whatever. Was really didn't feel the concept of it didn't sit that well for me. I was still eating my steak and eggs and free veg and all that sort of stuff every night. I'd go buy pepper steak in bulk and have that for dinner every night and all that sort of stuff as well. Now, as I said, being a hunter, the whole inspiration for my journey towards veganism and to going through the rights-based position was that I was making dinner one night. So I'd made dinner. It was after dinner, so I made dinner, sat down, eaten. because I was living by myself at the time, so cleaning up afterwards, and as you do when you're not paying attention to things, hand was in the water, stuck my hand in it, cut my finger open with one of the sharp knives that was in the sinks at the time. So obviously with your hands being wet, you can't put a band-aid on it because the band-aid had come off, and I was doing dishes as well. So did what you naturally do, followed the old wives' tale, and started sucking on the thumb, because that was the thumb that I cut. Sat down, thought, what am I going to do now? So I wasn't really in the mood for watching TV, so I sat down and read one of the hunting magazines that I used to buy at the time, and all that sort of stuff as well. So with that, sat down reading that, and one of the things is that they used to do, I think they still do it now, is that they'd have this big centre spread of in the magazine. So here's an animal that so-and-so's caught, and they'd be sitting beside the animal that they've killed, proud as punch, and all that sort of stuff. So at this particular time, this one was sucking on the finger. Obviously, you taste your blood because it's your thumb, and there's pulmonary, the artery in the thumb, so it pumps out a lot of blood. So anyway, I was sitting down there watching, reading this magazine, got to this centre spread, and just happened to pay more attention to the mouth of the big boar that was killed. And here I am sucking on my thumb, reading this magazine, and there's blood was coming out of the mouth. It wasn't fresh blood, obviously. So, it was fresh. It wasn't pumping blood. So the photo had been taken, hadn't been all dressed up. They must have missed a bit of the blood or something like that. So, and that was something that struck me at that point in time, is because here I am sucking on my finger, sucking my own blood, and having a look at the blood on the mouth of this boar. And that was what registered to me, is that, hey, animals are the same as us. And honestly, before that point in time, hadn't really paid any attention to it. So, here I was thinking, sucking on the thumb, thinking, yep, okay, they are the same as us, and that. So it just, so many things started going through the mind at that point in time. After that, made the decision that night that, yep, that was it. The next morning I was going to go vegan, and so, yep, no more animal products or anything like that. So that's what I did. Made the decision there, and then finished that night. When I woke up the next morning, it would be a clean start. What did I have? I think I only had coffee for breakfast, because all I had was Weet-Bix and milk, and obviously because I was going to go vegan, I hadn't bought up soy milk or anything like that. So the plan was to go and have a look at the health food shop on the way home from work the next day. So that's what I did. Had coffee for breakfast, went to work, ended up getting salad sandwich for work with no butter, which, mind you, at that time was something strange. Oh, you don't want butter, so and all that. So anyway, I ended up getting the salad sandwich on white bread. Came home, had it at work. On the way home, stopped by the health food shop and ended up had a chat to him and said, listen, what's the best soy milk on the market? Because I didn't want to try any of the cheap and nasty stuff, because for me, I knew from experience with other things that if you get something cheap and nasty, it's not done for any particular reason. So anyway, I ended up buying cartons of a time of Bonsoy. Bonsoy, yeah, it was Bonsoy. And so that was before all their bad stuff was going on, and that was the only soy market. No, Vitasoy was also on the market, though that was still coming from Japan at the time as well. So out of the two of them, I went for the Bonsoy because I was told that was the best one on the market. So that's what I stuck with, and things went from there. So huge learning curve from me. I made the decision there and then to go overnight due to my cut thumbs. So for me, it really bugs me when you get all these cranky vegans that turn around and say people that go vegan for health reasons aren't going to stay vegan or anything like that. Well, yes, I did, and that was 20-something years ago. For me, when they turn around and say that, well, I think that if someone goes vegan for health reasons and then falls off the wagon, so to speak, then I think that is more to do with the movement itself rather than the person, because we, as more experienced vegans, veteran vegans, or whatever it is, didn't reach out to that person and encourage that person to stay vegan on ways to to continue the vegan lifestyle, to approach the vegan message with them, the animal rights-based message, and things like that. So for me, that's more of an indicator of the movement rather than the person wasn't truly vegan to begin with. So what else? So yes, that's the thing. So yeah, so that was my vegan journey since then. And then Didn't meet another vegan. I was still hunting at the time, more from the point of that because I hadn't been exposed to that rights-based message, is that obviously going vegan for health reasons, and I still avoided wearing leather and all that sort of stuff. For me, I believe the rhetoric of the hunting fraternity saying that, we need to control these species and things like that. So that's what I believed. And it lasted for a number of years until even after I moved to Sydney, and then when I moved to Queensland, that's when I finally started to question that within myself, that no, it didn't make sense, because here I am killing an animal. And actually it was just an experience in Sydney that led me to be developing more of a rights-based approach, and more of causing it to question the information that's put out by the hunting fraternity. Now, for me, I was always that, we're doing it to conserve the species. Now, at that point in time, went deer hunting in Sydney. Now, I never ate any of the animals that I'd killed going through these hunting experience once I, went vegan from my own, or plant-based, or whatever you want to call it at that point in time, for that. So went hunting with these people, and for me, because I was getting older, I was starting to question things more. And for me, conserving a species by killing the strongest of the species isn't conserving it. Conserving the species, what you're doing is you're actually weakening it, because you're taking away the strongest. You're only allowing the weakest to flourish and to continue. So this was a discussion that I ended up having with someone, and they said, no. Then what had happened is we went deer hunting one day, and instead of going after the slowest ones, which I ended up doing at that point in time, going after the slow, sort of the old and all that, was that there was the group that I was with were always going for the biggest buck, and that because they wanted the antlers and they wanted to say this and that and everything else. Now, that really didn't sit with me, because for me, that point in time, that these people were only going hunting for their ego. They weren't going hunting to conserve the species. Now, and then looking at it that way, it caused me to question that whole, we're conserving the species thing. So that was what sort of started that whole different and more of a movement towards a right base, because I started to question that, and then thought, well, hey, if I'm being misled and was indoctrinated into believing that, what else am I believing that I need to question and challenge? So I did a lot of soul searching in that time, and then ended up moving up to Queensland, joined the local vegetarian vegan society, and went out, and that was about the time that I was married as well. Oh, and that was it. Started listening to Bob and Jenna Torres, the Vegan Freaks, when they had their podcast, and was starting to become more active, and really didn't subscribe to their promotion of Peter Singer and Peter and all that sort of stuff at the time. So when they started developing more of their rights-based approach, before they got involved with Francione and got burnt through that, and then that whole rights-based approach started resonating with me a bit more, and then did contact the VVXQ and asked about that, and they said that there was, no rights-based organisations in Queensland. So, for me it was more about socialising and all that, because I didn't have the confidence in myself to start something that, I don't want to be the first one, and plus I didn't know if anyone else in Queensland thought the same way that I did. So I went and joined a couple of the groups, and then that was sort of, as I said, I was married at the time, so then that was when things started falling into place and becoming more and more for this right-based approach. Now, then I did find out there were a lot of people that did follow the rights-based philosophy. A lot of them, sadly, were heavily subscribed to the Francione way of thinking. As I'll admit, that Francione probably started my journey down the rights-based approach. That was more because he was there at the time, not saying that he was a thing, because if I'd have been exposed to Tom Reagan or someone else like that before Francione, then I probably would have adopted that approach, because that was what sat with me. It was only that Francione was there at the time that I followed that. So that was the thing. From there, really started getting annoyed with the let's just all hug and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and all that sort of stuff of the different vegan organisations in Australia, and even the organisation up here in Queensland, because they class vegetarians and vegans as being the same. Well, if you view veganism as a social justice movement, even as a political movement, then they're not, because when viewing it from that aspect, vegetarians have more in common with meat reducers or those who are locavores and things like that than they do with vegans, because all you're doing when you're a vegetarian is cutting one product out, and that is animal flesh. Locavores only go for something that's local. Reducitarians only, they're reducing their consumption. So for me, that didn't sit that well. So then that's when I started an organisation called Vegan Existence, which you can see that tattoo there. It lasted for about 2 years. I ended up getting burnt out because of that, because I tried to do too much all at the same time, and there was a lot of other political sort of politics and sort of social acceptance and I'm better than you stuff going on in Brisbane at the time, and that wasn't something that I wanted to get involved in, so I sort of just ended up letting it go. So I sort of burnt out from that, hid away for a while, continued my blog, from there sort of started getting labelled Vegan Police, so then I thought, well, hey, bugger it, I'm going to take that brand. So from there, coming back now, I think the timing is right now, now that I'm getting on YouTube as well, for a rights-based message with regards to veganism, because people are becoming more aware. They're opening their eyes up. They're starting to question things more. We've seen that with people questioning the Raw to 4 lifestyle with Harley and Leanne. So there's a lot of division going on with that. There's a lot of people moving away from that. So that was why I've sort of transitioned to YouTube instead of just writing blog posts and doing podcasts, which starting podcasts again. There should be one coming out on Monday about that. So this is the thing, I'm going to be everywhere from now on. I'm still going to write blog posts, still going to do this one, as well as podcasts. So, and this is the thing, I feel that there is need, especially with the way the Animal Justice Party is going at the moment, and the huge amount of people that are following that without questioning. I think that the timing is right for people to start shaking the fence and trying to get people off sitting on the fence and to take sides one way or the other. So anyway, so that was my vegan journey. Now, a while ago I did drop out because I got sick of the bullying. Now, people wouldn't come after me because, I push back harder than what I get pushed. So then they started going after, my family and my friends, and a lot of the coast-to-coast people were like that as well, and even people from Animal Liberation Queensland. I know that because I questioned their Ashton Circus protest, and I've questioned a lot of things that these animal groups have done, and that instead of these people going after me and questioning me, they attacked my family and my friends. Now, to me, that is unacceptable, and I don't care who you are, how long you've been vegan for, what your message is or anything like that. You go after my family or friends instead of coming after me because you think they're a weaker link. That is unacceptable, and I draw a line in the sand. I push back hard, and that's the thing. I'm going to continue to push back hard. And I took a bit of time off because I got a new son and didn't want to put my partner through that, because that was all that sort of stuff. And this is the other thing too, is that one of the things that people would like to say is that when you start speaking out about things, you're just a police informant, or you're a meat industry shill, or you're a dairy industry shill, or whatever else that is. That, for me, that happened because I questioned the effectiveness of a Gateway to Hell, because that was going through popular fashion at the time. A Gateway to Hell post, where, and it wasn't a post, it was a sort of protester, and what did they call it? Storming the office or something like that. These people from Coast to Coast Animal Friends, who were mostly vegetarian at the time, there were a couple of vegans involved in it, recorded footage going into the Brisbane office of Southern China Airlines and stormed and did their little abusive thing and all that sort of stuff. I questioned the effectiveness, and yes, I've just dropped the batteries out of the remote for this, so I'll have to look for that. So yes, this is the thing, I question the effectiveness of that, because here they are, Brisbane office of something that's happening overseas. What is the effectiveness? And, I happen to mention the people because it was put in a Facebook post first. Now, if I can dig out that article, I'll find it. And it was published on YouTube. Now, since that time, the person who took the YouTube clip footage of that, who tends to think of himself as all and fuzzy vegan, they like to go around and photograph or videotape everything to do with vegans. She got upset by that because I called her out on saying, hey, it's not effective. You're just bullying and harassing people. You're trespassing and all that. And she got visibly upset. Well, big deal. You did something that was wrong. If you weren't going to get, if you didn't think it was wrong, you wouldn't have got upset. So since then, I was doing a lot of work for a local organisation up here. And since that time that this person, I believe, conspired behind the scenes to get me removed from that organisation and to not be part of it. I'll admit I'm hurt by that, because for me, this was never about my name. I was willing to do a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I put a lot of work in for that organisation behind the scenes. For it to be, all this work to be dismissed because of someone's ego, then that just shows that these people aren't in it for the animals, so to speak. So anyway, question that, mention these people by name, and yes, it probably wasn't the right thing to link to their Facebook page, but hey, these people did it first. So that was the thing. I'm a police informant. I've never spoken to the coppers about anything to do with animals, except when I introduced myself as a journalist at one of the the Coast to Coast Animal Friends protests on the Gold Coast. I went and saw the PSRT, who are the crowd controllers for the police force. Went and introduced them I went to introduce myself to them to say, hey, listen, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. The organizer of the Coast to Coast protest mouthed off and said that the coppers were there for her, not to talk to me, and that I should walk away. Now that was totally unacceptable. So anyway, not going to rant about that one, because that's huge dramas with everything else. So anyway, that was a bit of my vegan story. I'm not going to keep quiet anymore. As I've said, the time's come that people need to be more aware of things. They need to question things more, and all that sort of stuff. So if watching this clip gets you to question it. And the other thing too is, don't be afraid to stand up and say, hey, this is wrong. This is what we should be doing. Because if you do, you stand up, you give it a voice, you may not be the only one doing it. So anyway, that's the thing. If you need help or support with anything, send me a message. Contact at veganpolice.com.au, send it through Tumblr or anything like that, and I'll do my best to give you a hand with things. So that was about it that I can waffle for this one. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to you joining me on the next episode of Vegan Police TV. Okay, bye for now.